Guys, that's your Comanche Today in Raid Shadow Legends. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the video today. We're going to be on my thumbnail artist, Sir Henry's account, the most stacked free-to-play account that I've seen in the game, guys. I am excited for this one. It is a Whisper guy, just one of a few guys that we'll be having on this channel for champions that he has built, that I don't have built yet. I did want to give a massive shout out to all of you guys. Again, try not to mention it too much here, but check out Aura for all of your internet security, your personal security, your financial security, all rolled up in one. You can try a 14-day free trial. Check out more by clicking on the link in the show notes below. It is the best way to support what I'm doing here on the channel, is to check out the sponsor of this channel, and that is Aura. All right, so RM says, love everything you do. Put out my friend. Thank you, RM. Any thoughts on Whisper for live arena? Just with my puny mortal gear, I've managed to surprise a few people. Wonder what's possible with her in awesome gear. That's interesting. We have Marcos. Please do Whisper. I started a new free-to-play, and she's one of my main epics. And then we have Janady says, how about a guide for Whisper? She's an interesting kit, but I'd love to know whether I'm underutilizing her. Well, Whisper is one of the champions that my thumbnail artist actually has built and uses inside the game. An attack base Void Affinity champion from the Knights Revenant faction. Way back in the day, I want to say, what, in 2019? No lore on Whisper here. 2019, 2020, a few years ago, she was a free champion introduced to the game for people with Amazon Prime. So she's an Amazon Prime champion. Let's see what she does here, guys. First off, base stats, 16k HP, not very bad, not very good, average. Attack 1443, I would say a little bit above average. And then defense 793, way below average, very squishy. And then speed at 95, I would say maybe average. All right, on the A1, softening drive, rather. Attacks one enemy, has a 75% chance to place a big version of weaken on the A1. Pretty good ability here, right? On the A2, charged assault, attacks one enemy on a 3-turn cooldown when booked. Places an increased attack and an increased crit rate on the champion for 2 turns before attacking if the target has higher max HP than this champion, so it works against all bosses. Will ignore defense if the target is under a weaken debuff. So it can deal some serious damage. That is 100% ignore defense if they're under a weaken already. So already we're seeing that if you can set this champion up properly, she can smack. On the A3, unyielding flurry, attacks one enemy 2 times. Grants an extra turn if the target is under decreased defense and weaken debuffs. So a lot of weaken and now decreased defense synergy in her kit. This is on a 4-turn cooldown plus the extra turn, which really brings this down to a 2-turn cooldown and so on. Unrelenting has a 10% chance of granting an extra turn whenever this champion lands a critical hit. That's a really cool passive, right? Increased damage inflicted on bosses by 20%. So already we're seeing quite a unique kit, as the the commenters who requested her kind of pointed out here, right? She also has attack in dungeons by 29% on her aura. So first question is, what are her multipliers? Does she hit hard? Well, let's take a look at hellhades.com to find the answer to that. We have a 4 multiplier on the A1. That's strong. That's pretty dang godlike, really. That's a very, very high multiplier for an A1. So right out the gate here, now we're talking. It is only a single hitter, but it's a 4 multiplier. That's very, very strong. On the charge assault, her A2 ability, which can ignore 100% of defense if they're under a weaken, has a 3.8 multiplier, which is a godlike damage rating. Now, that's certainly godlike if they're under a weaken. If they're not, it's not going to blow anybody away, so we really want to make sure we're setting her up with that weaken. On the A3, it's a 2.6 attack multiplier, but it's a ×2 hitter as well. That's a strong overall damage grading on the A3. Let's go ahead and see how we have her built. There's 2 sets that I would consider with this champion. Set number 1 is obviously going to be, Savage or Lethal. If you're only running her as maybe a surprise live arena or arena champion, I'm just going to be real with you guys. She's not my favorite arena champion out there in terms of a nuker. I think you can do a lot better. If we're talking about like Void Epics, I'd certainly much rather have like a Molly, a Gala long braids. I always say Molly Tankard instead of Gala long braids. I'd much rather have like a Gala long braids on my team. But Whisper certainly can surprise, your enemy perhaps. So Savage and Lethal is what I would go with, obviously. In terms of blessings, if you're going to be using her in dungeons, I would go probably Phantom Touch, right? Get an extra shot on that shield, the Fire Knight as well. She's actually a good Fire Knight champion even though she only has a single target hitter because of all those extra turns that she has in her kit and a double hitter on her A3. Talk more about that, and we'll show her in Fire Knight in today's video. So other options on this champion would be Cruelty, right? Decreases the target's defense per hit. Obviously, her hits will certainly stack, so I would say Cruelty would be my second favorite, or I guess depending on where you're using her, Blessing for Whisper, okay? Let's talk about Masteries really quickly here. So you can see that my thumbnail artist has not completely done his Masteries. Shame, shame. But he has, you know, almost everything done here. He went offense tree and defense tree. I think this is definitely the way to go for this champion. I would say come down and pick up Retribution, right? Get chances at counterattacking with that hard-hitting A1 ability and a chance of placing that big version of Weaken as well. So Retribution would definitely be the tier 5 that I would be going for here. Other than that, offense ending out with War Master is a great option. You could also go with Helm Smasher, especially again if you're looking to utilize her in any PvP areas of the game. But against bosses, I would definitely go War Master on this champion. Other than that, I would just stick to basically exactly what he has there. Now, note that we do want to land that Weaken on her A1, provided we're not setting her up with, you know, Orion the Conjurer is a great setup. She has a Weaken on a 3-turn cooldown, or any other Weaken decreased defense champion out there. Okay, let me go ahead and see what he has for accuracy on her right now. He has enough accuracy to consistently land that Weaken in every area that he would be using her in the game. This should be enough accuracy, especially considering she's void affinity, no weak affinity matchups, to use against, you know, all the way to basically stage 25 in hard dungeons for the most part to land that Weaken on the A1. So stat priorities are going to be accuracy to land the Weaken, crit rate, crit damage, speed, we want her as fast as possible, and survivability, right? Now, we don't have a lot of survivability on this particular build. I would say that we're going to need to run her with a Reviver or a nice healer, maybe like a Syl of the Drakes, right? On the same team, because with 1488 defense, she's going to go down really fast. I would also add to that, if you're going to be using her in Hydra Clan Boss, I would definitely go the route of putting, instead of attack on the ring, instead of crit damage on the amulet, instead of accuracy on the banner, I would really consider, at least on the ring, going with defense. Defense will help bolster up that 793 weak defense. You definitely don't want to go defense percentage on the chest on this champion. Instead, you want to go attack percentage for damage or HP percentage for survivability, okay? So HP percentage for Hydra Clan Boss, attack percentage for basically everywhere else on this champion. Accuracy, I have no problem with that on the banner, unless you're using her again with other weakened champions, other decreased defense champions to set her up, in which case I would probably go with defense again on that banner to make sure she stays alive. You can get away with it, you can min-max with some attack. Okay, so in terms of other art, we have a Relentless set. So Relentless makes all the sense in the world on this champion, right? She's already getting the extra turn chances on the passive. She's getting the extra turn here on the A3. Why not give her more chances at extra turns? So she's just going to be the Energizer Bunny. She just keeps going and going and going and going and going. That's the magic of Whisper. You will see we do not have all of the artifacts fully upgraded here. Again, this is a free-to-play account, so take that into consideration. We have attack percentage on her boots. I'm surprised. Personally, I would probably go speed on the boots, but attack percentage is pretty cool. It also gets him the extra crit rate. So she's going to be hitting pretty dang hard, and that explains why she's relatively slow at, what was it, 173 or 184 on the speed. I like her to go a little bit faster personally, but it all comes down to personal preference. We have attack percentage on the chest, and we have crit damage on the gauntlets. Again, personally, I would go speed on those boots. You may be wondering, why is she not crit capped? Why is she at 74% on the crit rate? Well, it's pretty obvious. He's opening up with the Charge Assault, and he's putting that increased crit rate on her for 2 turns. Now, it's 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown, but we get the extra turn when we come back in on the A3, reducing this to 2 turns. That means we're able to keep up the increased crit rate and the increased attack all the time on this champion, provided we do it in that order and we set up with the decreased defense on the enemy team. So it's not always going to be the case, because of course we could get our buffs stripped from us, or the enemy could cleanse, but she's a safer than usual bet on most champions to build with at least 70% crit rate. Me personally, again, in a perfect world, if we had all the best god tier gear out there, we would would still crit cap her at 100%. But we have to make some sacrifices, and he's clearly doing so here in this build. We are able to get a nice, healthy 236 on the crit damage on this build. All right, guys, let's go ahead and try her out here. Let's start out in the arena. Let's just see what she can do, okay? So he is in gold 5. Fantastic. Let's go against this team. Okay, he's running a pretty fast Yumeko team. Also with Duchess on the squad. Man, the free-to-play with all these OP champions. You got to love it, right? All right, so here we go. She's already has the increased attack up from Arbiter. If not, she would be carrying this herself. But we're going to go in with the... So we want to ignore defense. That's the problem. And we have no champion on this team. Instead of Duchess, I would almost put like a Ryan the Conjurer, like I said before, to make sure that they're under that weaken. So let's redo things. But in the meantime, let's go in and see if we can kill... Let's go against their... Let's go... Yeah, they're not going to kill us with Foley. So we get the extra turn right out the gate. Love it. Love it. Now we can come in here with the A3. Hopefully kill so the Drakes. We do. Fantastic. So now the Reviver is down. Perfect. Let's go ahead and reduce the turn meter of Foley with Yumeko's A1. Foley comes in with that quad hit. I forgot that he had all his kills off cooldown anyway. What I'm going to do with this team is I'm going to go put it on auto. I'm going to make a small change. I want to get that set up right? So again, one shot on Foley there. Not that Foley's a tanky champion or anything like that, but you know, her numbers aren't crazy, but we're not setting her up properly either. So let's go ahead and make that change and see what we can do there. All right, land the annoying, provoke, and unkillable. Be right back when Umbral Enchantress is dead. All right, guys, let's see who he has for debuffers. So instead of Duchess on this team, we don't need a Duchess. We need a Ghostborn. There we go. Still, well, wait. Ghostborn has decreased defense, but he doesn't have the weaken. Ideally, let's see if he has anybody with both. Oh, Lydia. Perfect, right? So let's just make sure that Lydia is faster than, oh yeah, easy, 256. Perfect. This is going to be a perfect team. Now we get the full setup here, right? So here we go. We're going to go ahead and grab that increased attack. We're going to put their skills on cooldown. We're going to come in here with a decreased defense and weaken. They do have Wither the Crown, who has cleanse, so hopefully we go right now. Get another speed boost in there. There we go. Perfect. So they're all under decreased defense and weaken. So we can come in here and get the extra turns. So let's take care of, hopefully, well, let's take care of Ninja. He's going to be squishy, right? Boom. Done. Dead. We get the extra turn. We come in here. We get ignore 100% defense. Boom. 121k. That's the magic of Whisper, right? So yeah, you can definitely use her as a fun little champion inside the arena or inside tag team arena. But again, I can't stress enough, you need a champion like Lydia in there going in with the decreased defense and weaken. So there's Lydia, there's Venus, there's Bellinor, there's Dracomorph, right? Those are the champions with both. Those would be the best setup for this champion. Let me go ahead and show you her in Fire Knight, guys. I feel like most dungeons are fairly the same, meaning that, you know, she's going to be dealing damage, specifically to bosses. She's not an AoE nuker, obviously. She's a great nuker against bosses because she's dealing a ton of damage. She's ignoring defense, she's taking extra turns all over the place, right? So let's see what we can do here. So she comes in there, charge assault. Just got to finish up this wave. We have a Seer activation team. I did sub in Whisper. Whisper wasn't originally in this team on his account. So take that into consideration. I'm not sure who he really... I forgot who he ran in that spot. I think it was Rhonda. He was running Rhonda. But running Rhonda and Whisper together, I mean, that would be a great tandem as well if we didn't have a Seer activation team, but I didn't want to go in there and change his team too much. So we come back in there with the Karma Burn, and here we go. Dance of Time. Let's get that shield down. So there we go. Only one turn. Was hoping for two on a Relentless proc, I should say. We get that shield down, but it looks like, okay, Allure comes in. Now we get the extra turn. So we're going to go in with the A1. Hopefully land. No, we didn't get the A1. We didn't land the weaken there. That was unfortunate, but luckily Seer did. So now we have weaken. Now we need Ghostborn to land the decreased defense. Then we're going to start getting those extra turns, right? That's the A2. That's going to be the increased crit rate. Fantastic there. We need her to be critting, right? So we want her to land the weaken on the A1 if we didn't already have it down. So there comes the decreased defense. Now she'll start getting those extra turns. There we go. Back-to-back turns. Another extra turn. Another extra turn. Oh, there we go. There we go, Whisper. Now we're talking. So that's what I'm talking about, man. That's the magic of Whisper. And that sort of situation, especially in Relentless gear, that's going to happen a little bit more than you might expect, right? So a really cool champion. At the end of the day, I don't think she's an S-tier epic. I don't think she's for everyone. I want to be clear here because I'm not trying to have this channel just to recommend you guys all max out every champion. That's not what I want to do here. She would be for somebody who's looking for a role just like this, right? Looking for a nice damage dealer who you can have some fun with. She got an extra turn there at the end as well, specifically for dungeons, for bosses, right? She's a boss killer. She can deal a lot of damage. Obviously, she put out 1.6 million here in Fire Knight. You can't compare her to Seer because of what she's doing with Karma Burn. But to me, she's a good complement for Seer. Seer can get you through the waves, and then Whisper can get you through the bosses. You just got to keep her alive. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this guide. And again, I do want to give a shout out to Sir Henry, for allowing me to use his account for this guide. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, take care, guys.